Hi everyone, welcome back to Abra Knowledge channel. In this book review, we are going to talk about the 1 Minute Manager. Wonderful book. I strongly recommend all the supervisor, all the people manager or manager, if you happen to be there in the position, please you read this book. Wonderful book. And it's my book review 15, and in this very book contain the chapter. The chapter includes the first C grade, 1 minute goal, and then the second one it talks about 1 minute praisings, and it talks about the third C grade is 1 minute reprimands, and the fourth one is the 1 minute manager explains the way articulates the points. Fifth, the 1 minute goals work and praising and so on and so forth. These are all the chapter which this book contains, and I will be unfolding all of these chapters. Okay. What I did, I just picked up the very first chapter of this book, and which I am going to talk about it. And what I did, I just put it up all this in the notes, and I will be going through these notes, and these notes will be also given as an image so that it is well visible and readable and all that, right? Let's go back to the one. So this video talk about five chapters or 5 divisions or 5 small portion, right? Number 1 is book review, which I unfolded, the 1 minute manager and the content and the chapter we talked about it. And then we will talk about the young man who is looking for an effective manager, and what is his finding, what is his research, and what did he conclude, and so on. Very wonderful. And very importantly, we are going to discuss about the autocratic manager and democratic manager. What are the differences, and who is better, and what is the blend we need to have. All that we are going to discuss in the third one. The fourth one, his finding, the young man manager, young man who is looking for an effective manager, his finding we are going to talk about it. The last one is the special manager, right? So please stay tuned, you will get the amazing piece of information. Let's talk about this one, the young manager who is very agile in learning, and he desperately wanted to have a research on finding out what makes the effective manager. And he says that he wanted to work for one manager, one effective manager, and he wanted to become that one manager, right? And search had taken many years. So many years search was taken place, and far corner of the world and all that. And a small town in the capital of powerful nation he belonging to, and spoken with various managers and research and had a conversation and all that, and such as, for example, government staff, military, corporate executives, and university professors, and manager of shops and stores, and young and old, all these the various people he interacted to, and he has gathered the information. And the bottom line is the first chapter, the first page concludes that was beginning to see the full spectrum how manager manage people, right? That's what all about his research and all that. Let's talk about what he proceeded further, and say that some of the supervisors thought they were good, but subordinate thought they were otherwise. For example, so supervisor thought that okay, I am a best manager and all that, but the voting from the subordinate were otherwise, right? And typical response of, there are 2 things he talked about. Is one is called democrat and typical response from a tough manager. And tough manager means he says that autocratic manager and keep on top of the situation, and bottom line manager, hard nosed, realistic, profit minded, and interest in result. These are all the things which typically tough manager carry. Let's talk about another dimension, typical response of a nice manager. When you say nice manager, what does it mean? It means that democratic manager. We'll talk about what is meant by democratic manager. Participative and supportive, considerate and humanistic. These are all the qualities a typical the nice manager carry, right? So his quick response, which he just quoted in that book, he says, manager who were interested in result often painted, often labeled as autocratic, who work for the process, who work for the result, who work for the, all of these things, bottom line manager and profit, and realistic and all that. That is called the autocratic. And manager who were interested in people, taking care of the people, having all these care given to people, that often seem to be labeled as democratic. Young man thought the tough autocratic versus nice democratic. So these are the two combination he has come up with. So he has done so many studies. He concluded with two labels. One label is called autocratic, another label is called democratic. Democratic manager is all about carrying the people. Autocratic is all about mindful about the process, mindful about the result, bottom line, and so on, right? So he returned back home and he got dejected, he got discouraged. He given up all this research long ago. He could have given up all his research, but one thing kept him going. At least he has the intention what he is looking for. He is looking for an effective manager. What makes an effective manager? And then further it goes on. And he came across a manager who has marvelous stories of a special manager, and who lived ironically in the nearby town. And he heard the people like to work under him, people like to support him, and produce a great result. First time he came across one supervisor or one special manager who has two of the attributes, one autocratic and democratic, both the things combined together, right? And then he wanted to have that, meet that guy, what makes him different, how he's managing the work and all that. He telephoned the special manager secretary for an appointment, and he's right away put his through immediately. That call put his through immediately, and the special manager said, anytime this week will work for me, right? Probably, most preferably, you avoid having except the first half of the Wednesday. Otherwise, any week of the day works for me. And the time and appointment, they both synced together and arrived, and it started the conversation. It says that, well, to begin with, do you hold regular scheduled meeting with your team? And the special manager says, yes, I do carry a weekly meeting with my team, and that is one of the reason that you can come in any time except that Wednesday. I said it because 9 to 11 o'clock I have a meeting with my team. That's one of the reason why I said that you pick any slot other than this team. Okay. So then he said that, okay, basically what you do in that meeting. He says, the manager says, I basically monitor, I review the things, I analyze it, what accomplishment they have done, and what problem they have, and what is the corrective action being taken, and all that I go through in that particular 2 hours. Okay. So that means, are the decision made at those meetings binding on both? Are the decision being taken binding on both? Meaning yourself, the special manager, and your staff, right? Are you aligning on the results and all that? Of course, what is the point of having the meeting, right? We wanted to sync it and all that. So that means this young man, he said that, okay, that means you must be a participative manager. And he said that no, I give full freedom to my team. They take the decision. I just give a direction, if at all, if needed to be fine-tuning. Otherwise, I fully endorse, I fully support the idea which comes among the team member, and then I review them. If everything okay, I just go with their thing. If something need to be fine-tuned, I do it. So that's what he concludes actually. When you say special manager, meaning like you need to have an attribute, you need to take care of the process, that is extremely important. You have to be a bottom line manager, you have to have a discipline in the process, you have to also be customer oriented and all that. But one other thing is actually you also need to give a freedom to people to take the independent decisions. to take they should be able to take own decisions, and if wherever needed, manager can jump in. So that's what this the first chapter concludes with very beautifully. It talks about a boy, quick summary, it talks about a young man who is looking forward to have a effective manager. He wanted to find that what is mean by effective manager, and he did an extensive research, and discussing with the professor, discussing with corporate executive and so on. And then he came across two things, two very important category. One, label number one, autocratic. Label number two, he came across democratic. Again, autocratic is all about the minding the process and taking care of the bottom line, profit, process, customer and all that. And the other side you have another one, is called democratic, is all about people, taking care of people and all that. So he was not convinced. It is like half manager. I wanted to find both these two qualities should be there in one manager, right? So it will become perfect effective manager. That's what his definition was. And then he went on, and then he came across a special manager who had both of these blend, and then he had a conversation. One peculiar thing he noticed is that manager is giving the freedom for the people to take the decision, and he just intervene only if needed. So that concludes the first chapter of this book. I will be covering much more. Please do like, share, subscribe my channel. You have wonderful day ahead.